Hello, everyone. We're back.
Yeah, we're back. So we are doing parts three of our Canvas app. We're basically making a Canvas app. And last time, what did we do? We did a bunch of stuff, lots of
Yeah,
features.
so starting from episode one of this series, yeah, we started a sorry, I had my our own YouTube link in the background, and I was like, "Why is David repeating?" Anyway, we started developing a diagramming application, very much like the Stately Studio, um, and we started building, basic shapes, basically just a rectangle, right? The orange boxes, and then we went crazy with it. There was a canvas application. David can show that. Maybe just let's just go through that like in 1 minute, David. Let's
Sure,
cover what
yeah.
we built because it's been a while.
Yep, and I completely forgot that we have a random timer here. We were showing invocations, so we had like you're able to double click and to select, and you could drag a box and select a bunch of them and delete, which is really useful here because we have a whole bunch of random boxes just showing up.
True.
Yeah, so let's just go through what we've built so far. So we have a canvas machine, and in our canvas machine, we have a bunch of things in context. And so if you're new to XState, context is where you store all of the extra data that's contextual or relevant to your finite states. So we
Mhm.
have shapes, which in this case, we only have one box shape. And you could see that it could be random sizes, which we're doing. And we have a
Why
selection.
did we do the random boxes again?
So we were doing the random boxes just to for two reasons. The first reason is to just show off invoking an actor,
Hmm.
and so that's what this set interval actor is. It's a callback actor, and we are just creating a box and just adding it every second. I think the purpose of that was that Steve came on the chat last time, and we were talking about doing the selection logic. And he said that instead of doing it like whenever you move your mouse, it's actually a little smarter or a lot smarter to do it on
Hmm.
every tick. And the reason you would do it on every tick is because let's say you're in a collaborative setting and other people are adding boxes too. So if some appear under your cursor, which I hope happens here, yeah, you could
Right.
see that they're selected. And so we were just adding the set interval to prove that concept out. So let me just delete a bunch of these things. I really should add a overflow hidden. There's some. Let's go ahead and do that because there are too many boxes here. Okay.
In the meantime, Judical, hey,
Hey.
I believe from the TL Draw team.
Yeah, and so we were also demonstrating just having an animation frame as a callback actor. Really, really simple stuff. It's just sending a tick every animation frame. So super simple. We had the idea of AF, which stands for animation frame. And then we had a bunch of things we could do. We could add a box,
Mhm.
delete the selection, move a box, which don't think we got to yet, but we might get to today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had select a box and we had key down. So this was another really cool thing that we talked about where when you press a key down, you're basically translating a raw event, in this case, a keyboard event like me pressing delete, you're translating that into a more domain specific event. So in this case, selection.delete. And in my view, this is a lot better than hard coding in the event handler, which might live somewhere else. Hey, whenever you press a backspace, we delete the selection, just because there might be states where you do not want to do that. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that in episode one, we were sending all the DOM events directly to the machine because there's
mhm.
a type property on DOM events. So it was easy. It was sort of a valid XState event as well. But then we converted that to a domain specific event, as you said, because it makes more sense as we build more features. You want them to be more predictable.
Yeah, exactly. And
Sounds
that's
good.
why you would, yeah, build that. We also have two states. So we have normal selecting, and so when you're in the selecting state, that's when you could like drag this box and you see this box moving around. This was pretty fun to build. And yeah, then when you're done selecting, so when you do pointer up, then you go back to the normal states. And actually, oh, can I go live? I cannot go live. Oh, wait. Yes, I can. All right. Don't look at this link. I'm going to send it to Farzad. It's for no one else. But actually, I don't think it even showed the full link anyway. Anyway, so we're going to continue on today with two main goals. The first goal is we are going to actually update this to use XState v5 beta. So basically, if everything works the same, then we're good. And then we're going to add a fun feature, which is dragging and dropping boxes. And I think that's going to be good for today.
So that's going to be the same as selection move event that we had. Like it was empty. That's the same thing, right? Dragging and dropping.
Yeah. So we had let's see, normal selecting box.move.
Box.move, yeah.
Actually, now that you mention it, it really should be selection.move.
So. Exactly. Because we don't want to move one particular box on the canvas. As long as anything is selected, we want to move it. Yeah.
Okay, so actually, let's just plan that out. So we this is going to be, instead of box.move, this is going to be selection.
Do we want to refactor to XState v5 first?
Yes.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. So where do we start?
I saw a bunch of red lines with TypeScript errors. I hope that some of them are going to just go away when we upgrade to v5 here.
Right. So I want to get rid of this chaos behavior too. And thankfully, all I really have to do is get rid of that actor.
Invocation. Yes.
And now everything is thankfully back to normal. So we are good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get this started. So I don't know if you could see here, but because I can't really zoom in, but in Code Sandbox or anywhere else, to get to XState version 5 beta, you're just going to install XState at beta. And it's going to complain, and that's because we have to do a few more things. I'm going to get rid of inspect just for now. We're going to install XState React at beta. So those two things, they need to be in sync because XState React beta expects React. So, okay, let's see the errors that we get. And this is error-driven development. So we're going to fix these errors one by one and yeah, do stuff. So Raise is now just exported directly from XState. You don't need to worry about that.
Much better.
Yeah. Here we go. A nice helpful error. State diagramming app has declared Colin for one of its transitions. This property has been renamed to guard. Please update your code. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to just search for Colin.
That's a really good error message.
Thanks. Yeah, we're going to get better with error messages. I think now that we have all the pieces in place, we could do that. So I'm going to replace that with guard. You're going to see that, there's just some things that still don't work. Not that anything's broken, but we just need to do a little bit of refactoring, and we will have code mods that help with this in the future. So let's go state by state.
This is expected, David, because you're upgrading like a major version. So
there
would be breaking changes.
Of course, there are breaking changes, but it's all to really, really improve the developer experience, hopefully, and also just how flexible you could be with XState v5. So one big change is that instead of these multiple arguments, which got pretty annoying, like there's this object full of stuff over here, and if you weren't using context, you have to do that. It was a little bit annoying. So now it's all under one object. So one argument, and we could do the same thing here.
It's pretty straightforward for a code mod too.
Yeah, exactly. And so
see the awkward situation with
underscore
for context.
Yeah, and the way I work around this, you could just type event, or you could do event ev if you really want to just keep the shorthand, but just type it out. It's fine.
As long as this is just a find and replace, it's good.
Exactly. All right, let's see what else. Okay, so we have our awkward underscores here. I am going to just delete that. This is also going to be event. That stays the same. We read the context from here. Can you tell that I've done this a lot? Okay, so guard event, And okay, cannot read properties of undefined.
Is it because you remove use machine from XState React?
No, so that should not have done anything.
Well, we're using create actor context, which is probably using one of those hooks under the hood.
Yeah, so let's see. Oh, yeah, create actor context. Okay, so I see another red thingy. Window.canvas actor equals use. Okay, let's see. We have options, DevTools, services.
Is the create actor context ready with the beta?
Yeah, it should be. Funny, we just did a release, so let me see if anything is broken there. Otherwise, we could just go back to using.
We can also double check if the beta version is the same that you just released.
Yeah, actually, let me go ahead and do that. So, js.com package XState. Okay, so
there's a good chance that Sandbox might have cached some of the versions.
Yeah, so we have beta 9 and then React
this is
beta 9.
XState. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to do this.
This looks okay. XState looks okay, but the XState React is beta 3.
Yeah, so let me just double check that that's correct. Looking over here. If you have any questions in the comments, then feel free to ask Farzad while I figure this out.
So Nick is asking, I wonder if AutoGPT could make an updated script by reading the XState migration guide. I mean, it is very possible.
I would say it would definitely be possible. And that's definitely something interesting to think about.
The GPT model actually has a very good understanding of XState configuration. So I definitely see this possible. In fact, we could maybe experiment with this, see where it goes. Great idea. Thanks.
Yeah. It's a super great idea. Let's see. I'm trying to see. Okay, so something might have changed. All right, so some context app provider. You know what? Or you don't know what? Can't read properties of undefined, which is very, very weird.
In fact, this is coming from resolve action in the error stack.
Yeah.
I don't know if you need to trace it to some particular action or something.
I'm going to do this. We're going to simplify Canvas context.provider. This is something that we literally just released the latest beta 3 hours ago, or 4 or 5 hours ago. So I'm not surprised.
David, sorry, was there also a change with the machine options? I mean, the option that you were passing had services. Did we rename that too?
Oh, wait a minute. You're right. Yeah, so it is actors. And here's our actor. Will that fix anything? Not really. But that's okay. So I'm going to install XState React at 4.0, beta.2. So we're just going to go back a version, and then we're going to cannot fetch dependencies. Interesting. All right, this is what happens when you do a demo. You have all this fun stuff. Yeah. Okay.
It's back now.
Yeah, that same damn problem. Okay, no, we're gonna figure this out. And let's see. Okay, so we have resolved.
I'm gonna throw this option out there. If we think that this is, I mean, this is pretty fine. I mean, this is something that people might run into, and it's great for, it's great as a learning resource. We need to figure this out.
Yes.
But at the same time, if you think this is a blocker at any point, we can always revert and try to build features and do this next time.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Okay, so let's see. Canvas provide actors, shape. Yeah, so let's just, I wonder if I could control Z.
Not that anybody asked, but yes, I'm drinking coffee at 9 p.m.
Hey, no shame in that. I would do the same thing too. So, okay.
Perks of being a dad, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, something is going really interesting with the dependencies, but that's okay. So I'm going to go back to installing XState at latest and XState React at latest. And we're back to having our drawing app. And we
Right.
also have our chaos over here, so we are going to get rid of that. Okay, so
All right.
now we have to have this selection.move. So
Yes.
I'm going to change this to selection.move. And we are going to, so actually, when it comes to dragging and dropping, there's actually a bunch of events that happen. It's not just a move event. We have move starts. And when we move start, that's going to be a point. So we have some points on the canvas where we start moving, of course. We also have move. And so now this point represents which point we're moving to. So as we start dragging something like to here, the point.start is going to be the same, or the start point is going to be the same, but the move point is always going to be changing, and we need to know that information. Okay, and then we just have selection.move
Move
end.
end.
And we don't necessarily need a point for that, but it could be helpful, especially in programmatic drag and drop. So you could do something like that. All right. So here's our goal. We want to click or do pointer down on one of these shapes. We want to be able to drag and move it. So we need to add a few more things to context. The first thing we're going to add is the, let's call it the start point. This is going to be points or null, or you can make it optional.
Johannes asked a good question. Should the selection events be encapsulated in a parallel selecting state, or maybe even like a spawned actor?
So I would actually say no, and that's just because you can't really drag and move at the same. You can't really be selecting and moving at the same time. That would get messy, and it wouldn't be really expected user behavior. So I mean, there are situations where you might want to do that, but just in our scenario, we probably don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's actually a good reminder that we have these global transitions here, and we have normal, selecting, and let's just call this dragging. So we go into this dragging state, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm also, all right, so this is our canvas. Let me just scroll to the app. Okay. So I'm also going to just put the, I'm going to just put an h2 tag and show the state.value.
Classic.
Yeah, it's just an easy way to really just debug stuff. Cool. So now we're normal. We're selecting. You can see that it sort of switches to the selecting state because we're not sure what's happening when our mouse is down. We are technically in the selecting state, but then when you stop, you're back to the normal state.
So when you put your pointer down, that's sort of a not determined state whether you want to go to selecting or dragging. If you do the selection if you do the pointer down on one of those orange boxes, then start moving your pointer, your mouse, whatever, then you're in a dragging state. If you do that in the rest of the areas in the canvas, there you're in the selecting state, right? Because selection box
Right.
is okay.
Yeah. So that's why we have our shape over here on click, send, box, select, which we're going to actually change this. So I'm going to just comment this out. And so we could still create shapes. And actually, we could still select shapes. And the reason that we could select them is because we actually, why can we select them?
Maybe because it hasn't. Okay, check that it has been reloaded.
Oh yeah. You're right. Also, I feel like we could still select them, and that's because we're doing the box selection. So when we do box select, which let me just here, yeah, interesting.
No, there's a key down listener.
Right, but there's also probably a pointer down.
So we're sending key down to the machine.
Oh, okay. So when I got it. So when we're doing canvas.pointer down, we're still assigning those box points. So we're still listening for selection and stuff like that. But now what I want to do is when our pointer is down on a box, then we're going to transition to the dragging states after we move a little bit. So at first, we might be in. Yeah, so we're not going to be in the selecting state. So let me just pointer down.
Maybe do we want to separate the state? Like when you put your pointer down, regardless of where you are, maybe transition to a locked state, something like that. And then from locked, you either go to selecting or go back to idle or normal, or go to dragging.
Yeah, maybe. But I was also thinking that just for just for this example, if we go back to shape, click that. Let's see, this stops propagation, but
yeah, we don't need that anymore, I suppose, right?
Well, I was going to say prevent default, so that means that if so the canvas is still capturing those events.
Yeah, because we have a global key down listener.
Right, but so this isn't based on the key though; it's based on the mouse. So the canvas is still listening to the mouse moving.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
All right, yeah. I'm trying to just remember how we did this last time, but yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and just move the box. So we get into the selecting state, but we shouldn't. I instead want to say, let's go back to shape over here. On click, should be nothing happen. Oh, okay. Let's try this.
Did you get it?
Still selecting. Did I get what? Sorry.
I mean, did you figure it out? I mean, sorry, I'm doing something else. That's why I was trying to visualize the state machine that we have in Code Sandbox to understand what's going on.
Yeah, it's cool. I see everything is green. It's like a sideways forest. It's pretty fun. But
oh, sorry. I didn't realize that we have a live session. Sorry, my bad.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Okay, so let's see. We have on pointer move, and this is all happening on the. All right, so canvas pointer down. Okay, let's just return for now because I don't want to actually be selecting. When my mouse goes down, I want to be. Basically, we're figuring out what we want to do. So we're going to transition to some unknown states, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant by the locked state. You go somewhere until you determine what's the target. And,
right. So
in fact, Alex is asking, should a guard be used for that? Yes. I mean, you need a guard at transition. You either go back or go to dragging or selecting. It's the 3 ways.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So, okay. When we're in the normal state and our mouse is down, then we are going to, so we have that selection.move starts, right? So let's just go to the normal state. And we have canvas.pointer down, but now we have selection.move starts. And so in this move start state, we're going to go to our target determining state. I'm still not sure if that's correct, but we could always easily change that later. And we are going to assign, we're going to change the, so the start point. And the start point is going to be the event.point.
Maybe let's start naming them event for migration.
Oh yeah, that's true. You're thinking ahead. Okay, so now we have the selection.move start, and you've seen in previous streams that we were able to just send that from the console, but let's just go ahead and do that inside of our shape component. So inside of shape, we are just going to send type, and this is going to be selection.move start, and the point is going to be our XEV. Sorry, I called it EV. whatever. We'll keep it as EV.
Yeah.
Client X and Y, EV.clients Y. Okay. So that should work.
Maybe we need to stop propagation here.
So yeah, let's console.log the event.type. We're getting that.
Or not.
Okay.
Interesting.
Very, very interesting.
Is there pointer events on this shape?
There should be. Oh, you know what? So that might be why it's not working. So we have props, shape. Aha, you're right. So we have shape, on click, event, mouse events, void. And so we should have pretty much everything else. I'm just not sure.
No,
how
there
to
is a
do that.
pointer events none on this div here on line 215.
That's weird. Actually, that would explain a lot. Okay, so now you saw that we were able to click, and you know, it showed that.
I wonder how was this working before.
Yeah.
How would we get the click? Yeah. Anyway.
Wow. Okay. So I am just going to go ahead and grab all of these React detailed HTML props, and so we're just going to say that this is shape. Yeah, we take in the shape, and also we have all of these props. So don't worry about this. Wait, no. How's it required?
I think there's a React component props or something.
Okay. So we have the shape, and then we have the div props here. And now we are just going to spread those div props, which come from, yeah.
As a best practice, you need to spread them before adding the overrides, because technically you can override the unclick here. Just you know.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get my point?
You're right. Yes. Yeah. So we'll just move that up here.
It's going to be really hard to trace these bugs later on. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so this is going to be on pointer down. We're going to move start. So great. Now we're in determining. Okay, so now let's do, I'm just going to get rid of this, on pointer up. And this is going to be our selection.move end.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, and of course, you know, we're sending the points and everything. That's totally fine. We could do that. So now let's go back to our state machine, because we need to handle those state transitions. Let's see, in determining on pointer, pointer, selection.move end, we're going to go back to normal. So this is just us figuring out, you know, the states. And let's see. So we go pointer down, we're determining. And so by determining, it's like we're not dragging yet. You might be selecting. You might just be clicking. We know that we're dragging if we pass some certain threshold, which we're going to talk about. But otherwise, if we go to target, if we just, you know, do pointer down, then pointer up, then chances are we're just clicking. So that's the way that it works in our studio. And yeah. By the way, thanks, Paul. I started using XState on a personal project recently. I'm pretty impressed with it so far. Just wait till V5 beta if we get it working, which it is working. So just I was probably doing something silly.
Now I can confirm that it works.
Yeah, it definitely works. I just need to, you know. All right, we have our start points and we have our drag points.
So drag point is going to be the one that tracks moving, like the point where you're moving your mouse.
Exactly.
As long as you're dragging, that's going to be updated. Yeah.
So I'm just going to add drag point to here. Okay, so how do we know when we have a box, our pointer goes down, how do we know that we're actually dragging? Well,
when
here,
your pointer move.
Yes. So we have selection move end, and we're just going to do selection.move. We could refactor this later to start with the native events and then take those native events and raise the domain-specific events like we did last time, but let's just get this working for now. So selection.move. Once we start
David Steve
moving,
is saying that V5 is great.
awesome. That's really, really good to hear. Okay, so here's our state machine, and yeah, we could probably show that later, Farzad, like when we when we finally get this drag thing working. Okay, so determining normal, but now if I click and I move, I forgot to add the
move, yeah, pointer move.
yeah. Okay, so we have on pointer up, on pointer move, and this we're just gonna move.
Yeah. It's pretty simple to integrate this with DOM. You just send events to the state machine. It's really nice.
Yeah. So we've also made a mistake over here. It's funny. These are mistakes that like I feel like everyone's run into in trying to do this sort of logic. I remember making this years ago, but pointer up. We're listening to pointer up on the actual element itself. But we shouldn't be doing that. We should be doing that on the canvas.
Yes, because what if you put like basically release your pointer outside of that box? You want to track it everywhere.
Right.
You probably want the pointer move everywhere as well.
But check this out. There is already a canvas.pointer up.
Yeah. So we don't need to do that. We just, yeah.
Yeah. So let's go here. We could do a couple of different things. We could either just say selection.move end if we're doing it programmatically, or we could say canvas.pointer up, and that should do the same thing. So again, we go back to normal.
Recycling the same event.
Exactly, yeah. And again, if you want, you could just raise that event too. So determining, dragging, and then I notice how I lifted my mouse up inside here, and then it went right back to normal. But that's not too exciting because we're not moving anything yet. So
yeah,
in determining when we move, then we should go to dragging. So
in dragging, we need to update that point, which we're not right now.
All right, so let's do some assignments. We have our drag point, and this is going to be the silly underscore thing, event.point. This is what V5 solves. We're going to actually be doing a very similar thing over here, selection.move. And instead of going to dragging, because we're already in dragging, we're just going to do this. When you see that you're reusing the same action, that's a really good sign that you could just parameterize them, or you could just call this update drag points. But we'll do that later, or Farzad could do it. Anyone could do it. So yeah, I'm logging the state.value, so let's go ahead and log something else here. I want to load. By the way, if there are any questions, yeah.
Yeah, so Cedric is saying, does the copy-paste feature shown on the previous office hours by Farzad will work with VS Code extension? I think, Cedric, you're referring to blocks copy-pasting, which will work in the VS Code extension once blocks are released and then bundled with the new version of the VS Code extension. It's expected to work.
Cool.
Johannes is asking, can we not just use React component props div instead of the detailed HTML props and stuff? Yeah, that's something I suggested too, but like
go for it. If you want to change that, I was just trying to talk and think and type at the same time.
I'm waiting so we nail down the state machine and then do the smaller refactorings after that. But Johannes, you're right. Yeah, that's the easiest way.
Yeah, I just blindly copy types. Like that's what works best for me. Okay, so I'm moving the because right now pointer move only works inside the box, which is definitely what you don't want. So instead, we're just going to go back to the canvas. So
you're right, David. This is the mistake that everybody makes. you expect that to work on the element, whereas the pointer can go outside of that box, and you still want to track the mouse position. So we need to lift this up.
Yeah, I was going to say like we could do the selection.move thing, but we already have canvas.pointerMove. So, and this is what I love about state charts. You could just reuse that. So I'm just going to change this to canvas.pointerMove, and you're going to see, or hopefully you could see, this is actually pretty tiny. But if I move this, oops, come on, then nothing happens. Interesting. Totally thought that would work. Canvas.pointerMove. All right, let's see.
That assigns to box point 2.
Where is this? We are in the canvas, so we should be having our pointer move event.
Yeah, but that doesn't assign to drag point. That assigns to box point 2.
No, well, I mean, the problem is it's not assigning to anything right now.
Oh, isn't it?
No, yeah. But here, let me just see if this works real quick. Otherwise, it's a different problem. Yeah, that's weird. We're not having that selection.move.
What's the state value? Dragging.
Okay,
so that's correct.
Oh, you know what? I might be in the wrong state. No, I'm not. So we do have canvas.pointerMove. Let's go back to our shape because something's probably happening in there. Let's see. We have on click. We have our div props here. Let's see what else. We have each of our shapes, which are down here. Okay, so I have on pointer down. And we have event.prevent defaults. Wonder if that's doing anything.
I don't think
anything,
so.
These streams to show you how tricky this stuff really gets.
Yeah, the fact that we went through the same thing in the studio development doesn't mean that we remember doing it.
Exactly. This is like
Easter eggs just pop out here and there all the time with dumb events.
Yeah, and just to show the problem, I'm going to console.log event.clientX. And so what's supposed to happen is as we're moving our mouse, we should see those things moving. Oops, get rid of that. So yeah, I should see we're seeing that client X, and we have selection.move happening here. Okay, why did I do canvas dot? Oh, because I changed it. That's why. We had this on pointer move, but still, so that should be sending the right thing. So I'm going to get rid of this. We have canvas.pointerMove, and I'm also.
So you were listening to pointer move, but you were sending selection.pointerMove.
Yeah.
Selection.move. Sorry.
Right. So we're still getting these events, but let me just make sure that we're in the right state. I'm going to close this for a minute. Okay, so we're in. Oh, you know what's happening? And this is why, thankfully, seeing the states really helps, is we're still in the determining state, and we were listening for canvas.pointerMove here because we don't have selection.move anymore. This is what happens when I code too quick. Okay, so we were never transitioning from that determining state. Okay, there we go. So I don't know if you could see over there, but it is dragging. And so we're good.
Phew. It doesn't really show for us that the box is moving.
Oh, no, yeah. The box is definitely not moving. But the values on the
the drag point was updating, yes.
Yeah, so drag.
I'm just joking. Sorry.
Yeah. So, this isn't Chakra. Font size. I wish it was. Chakra's great, by the way. Okay, so now, I don't know if you could see, just all of that changing.
That's fun.
Yeah, we have a bunch of stuff changing, but still not very exciting because we're not moving the box yet. So we actually need to move whatever we have selected, which actually we got rid of our selected stuff. So I'm just for this stream, we're going to do it to all the boxes, and then we're going to refine this logic and do it to each box. So again, this is us coming fresh from like something that was 2 weeks ago. But thankfully, we have most of the information we need from, just from the state machine, which is there.
That's completely fine. People like seeing us struggling.
They do.
Yeah. This is the nature of live streams. It's not a perfectly recorded video showing like everything that's just right in place. This is live
That's
coding.
true.
This is real world coding, really.
Yeah, that's true. I could see that. Okay, so canvas.pointer move. We have the drag points, and now if we go to each of our shapes, we are positioning them based on this shape over here, which is not strongly typed for some reason. It should be. It definitely should be. But that's okay. It's not my fault. I will blame something else. But the shape, it's going to have a few properties on it. And those properties, which I wish it showed me, because it just says shape. So I'm going to try this trick. It didn't work. But anyway, we have this position.x, position.y, the width, and the height.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yeah, we are...
The shape
go ahead.
position needs to be updated based on the context now.
Exactly. And so the way that we determine how it's being updated is we already have the canvas context over here, and we were using a selector to see if it was selected. Those two aren't related, by the way. This is the shape selected, and this is a selector for the state machine. That's besides the point. But I want to get two things. I want to get the delta x and the delta y. And so this is going to be canvas context dot use selector. And we're going to be reading a few things. We're going to return the delta x is going to be our drag point
dot
x minus
a start point dot x.
Yeah, in fact, const drag point start point equals state.context. And so we are just going to grab from the drag point and the start point. And y is going to be drag point.y minus start point.y. By the way, I might have these reversed, and it's going to be really, really obvious if they are. But if they are, then whatever. And I'm also going to do shallow equal, and this is going to be imported from XState React itself. So this just gives, it's a really nice utility so that you don't have to deep compare the object or anything like that, because otherwise this is going to be a new reference every single time. So that's why shallow equal is actually really, really handy. So, but yeah, all we have to do is add those delta values. I think this might go completely wrong or completely right. We will see. Let's see. Oh, so we don't have those drag points yet. So if, yeah, because they can be null. TypeScript, where are you when I need you? So drag point. So if
it's not null, you want
yeah,
this.
so if drag point otherwise 0, which is a totally fine value to have.
Which is correct, right? You don't have a drag point until you actually move things. Yeah. Okay. We might
So
need
it's moving a little
to
bit.
lock the pointer. Right?
Yeah.
We probably need to lock the pointer with this ID.
Yeah. So actually, I think what's happening is I know exactly what's happening. Actually, when we're clicking on the shape, in fact, okay, so this is the source of like so many problems, is that we're clicking on a shape, and so that shape has its own relative position and everything. And so I was going to say we should determine like where exactly on the shape are we clicking. I don't know
exactly,
why I
because
there.
you're now getting it from the, so you're getting it from the start point, right? But that should be correct.
Yeah. So I was going to say, instead of directly clicking on the shape, we should, yeah, that none of this matters. But
no, I see your point. I see your point.
We should do it on the canvas, basically. So on pointer down, you see how we have that. Instead, we are going to...
Oh, yeah, because if you have the listener on the shape, then you need to cancel off the bit the difference between the border, the left border of the shape to the place of the mouse, the location of the mouse,
Right.
because you need to cancel off that difference so that the relative difference is always the same. So the pointer and the box move at the same time.
You got it. You got it. So yeah, I'm going to reuse the same logic over here. And so now when let's make a shape or two, because we're doing this to every shape. Now, instead of selection.move starts, we are going to just say canvas.pointer move. So instead of selecting, canvas dot, oh yeah, so yeah, determining.
In which state is this? The normal state?
Yeah, so in the normal state, when we do pointer down, it takes us to determining. So now when we go to determining, we're going to have canvas.pointer move. And so determining, dragging, can't read X.
Start
because we need the we need the start point as well. So canvas.pointer down, easy fix. Canvas.pointer down, which by the way, this is why does it say no results when there's definitely results? That's very frustrating. Anyway,
it's because you have the exact match option on.
Really?
The second option. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to assign the start points. I think it's called start point.
David, wasn't it easier if we selected the shape on pointer down, and then we didn't need the canvas.pointer move? We could just rely on selection.move.
Well, we have this, which almost works. Yeah. And so canvas dot, I'm actually really relieved that works. Pointer up. So when we are in the dragging state and we go from dragging back to normal, at any point we could cancel this. So we want to say on exit, we want to assign drag point. We want to make this null again. So we just don't want to have a drag point anymore. So let's just see what happens. Okay, cool. So at least it just goes back to where it was. And now we have some dragging logic, which is pretty cool. I'm going to get rid of the pre-tag just so that we could so we could see this work in action a little bit better. It's going to drag everything, but this goes right back. Okay, so the very last thing, just because we've been at this for almost an hour, let's just commit the shape of these shapes so that it doesn't jump back. And that's actually pretty simple to do. So let's see. Instead of exit over here, I'm just going to move this to pointer up because we're going to do some more things when we move our pointer up. We're going to update all of the shapes with the delta. So yeah, let's go to shapes. And this is going to be context. And we already have all the information that we need over there. So we are going to return context.shapes.map and shape. And we're going to map each of these shapes. So we need that delta information. So again, we have our start point and our drag point from context. And so delta equals dx. Dx is going to be drag point.x minus start point.x.
Sorry, David, I wanted to answer some of the questions. We got a bunch of them.
Yeah, sorry. I'm talking too much.
I realized that I was talking for a minute and I was on mute. Johannes is asking, wonder why TypeScript isn't helping us here. Or the built-in events, do they have a bad types? I don't think it's because of that. Like the last time I discussed it with Mateusz, it's because XState relies on recursive machine configuration. It's like it's really, really hard to get the TypeScript types working perfectly if you have the implementations like inline expressions inside the machine config. But if you have them inside the machine options and use the serialized name for the actions or invocations and things like that, they would flawlessly work.
Yeah.
That's my understanding, at least.
And two other things. First of all, sometimes Code Sandbox is weird about TypeScript. So like sometimes I get any's for no reason. But the second thing is that XState version 5 beta does have better typing, so it will more precisely infer the correct typings for these things. And I wish we could have like converted it today, but we didn't get a chance to. But finally, at 2 minutes until 1:30, at least in this time zone, we have dragging and dropping working. So just to review, when your mouse goes down, we're in the determining state because we don't know if we're dragging or not. And then we're dragging. And then we commit the position of the delta. So you could just assume that all of these are selected, but you commit the position of the delta to each of the shapes. And so we just calculate those deltas and we subtract them from the actual position. And then we have drag and drop.
Because we're listening to these pointer events on the canvas itself, is that why we have the difference between where your mouse is right now and the shapes when you start dragging? They sort of have like they get out of sync when you drag. Can you move one of them right now?
No, it seems fine.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. Maybe I'm getting like a cached thing here. Because for me, when I start dragging, the box just jumps out of the viewport. That's weird.
Yeah. It's a little bit weird.
Okay, you know what?
Yeah.
For the entire duration of this stream, I thought that we're building the feature where you want to move one of the boxes around, whereas this is panning the canvas.
Well, so technically it's panning the canvas, but we could use the exact same logic, and we'll probably do that in a future stream. We're going to use the exact same logic to actually drag individual boxes instead.
Right. That's why I was suggesting, what if instead of all of this, we could just select the box on the first pointer down in the determining state and then just rely on selection.move. That's why like that doesn't work because we were like building the panning feature, not the box moving feature. Okay. This is nice.
That'll be for next time. But at least we have that, that logic in there. Because
great.
Yeah, so think of this as like a panning thing. But yeah, just to review, we have our determining state, and so we're determining what we should do, because we could just do our pointer up, or we could even press the escape key, and we're no longer dragging anymore. I just didn't add that in there. Or when we start moving, we could add a threshold. So instead of this, we could say if we moved the mouse 100 pixels, then we're dragging. And so that actually becomes really important logic to implement.
It gives a sort of inertia feeling.
Yeah. So I think that's good enough for this stream. Sorry for all of the chaos, but it was fun.
yeah. I mean, definitely it was fun. Again, like this is how real world coding looks like. I mean, part of the time you're confused and you don't know what you were doing, and then you get back on track. This is how I code, at least.
To address some of the comments, if it were me, I would write down the initial positions of all selected boxes when entering the dragging state, then calculate the offset when moving, then calculate the actual position. So the thing is, with this technique, you actually don't need to keep track of the initial positions of the selected boxes, because all that matters is the delta. And so that's why, because I've done this before, and using a couple different techniques where it's like things will go wrong if you hit like the top left corner of the box versus the bottom right corner. Like it tries to do it from the center or something like that. But because we're only capturing two things, which is the start point and the drag point, we get all the information we need. So we get that delta information and everything is fine. We are all masochists. That's great. Yes.
Steve says, I'm excited for the part where you guys get this app working with real-time collaboration. Yeah,
you know.
we're seeding some ideas for how the Stately Studio, which is basically a much more advanced version of the diagramming application we're building here, might work with live collaboration, because live collaboration is definitely planned as something that needs to be in the works pretty soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we're thinking about like real-time data structures such as CRDTs and how that would play with the state charts implementation.
Mhm.
But more on that when we try to release that feature later on.
Yeah, I'm excited for that because with XState version 5, it makes it a lot easier to actually do that. So,
Especially with those, you can actorize any sort of behaviors. Yeah, that's a lot easier. I agree.
all right, well, I think that that's a good place for us to stop the stream. So thank
I
you all for
agree.
joining. This was fun. Next time we will get version 5 working for sure, and then we will do the drag and drop for individual elements.
Yeah, we look forward to doing this again next week. Have fun, everyone.
See you all.